For years, we've been taught that kidney issues develop slowly, silently, and inevitably, leaving us with little control over their progression. But what if the body wasn't actually breaking down? What if it was responding to specific pressures we place on it every single day, especially through what we drink? The kidneys are remarkable filters, working tirelessly to keep our internal environment balanced. Yet, most people don't realize how quickly they can respond when given the right conditions and the right support. Today, I want to show you something that challenges the old belief that kidney healing has to be complicated or slow. There's a simple drink built on fundamentals of hydration, mineral balance, and inflammation control that can trigger a powerful shift inside the body. When you understand how fluid balance affects filtration rate, how certain natural compounds calm oxidative stress, and how restoring electrolyte integrity helps the kidneys reset, you begin to see why this one drink works so rapidly. It's not magic, and it's not hype. It's physiology reacting the way it's designed to react when obstacles are removed and support is provided. Most people think kidney stress begins only when symptoms finally appear. But the truth is that the earliest stages often start with something so subtle that it goes unnoticed for years: hidden dehydration and mineral imbalance. The kidneys rely on a delicate fluid environment to function properly. Even a mild shift in that environment can change how they filter blood, regulate electrolytes, and maintain internal balance. When the body doesn't receive enough consistent hydration, the kidneys are forced to conserve water, concentrating urine, and increasing the workload on tiny filtration units called nephrons. Over time, this constant pressure makes it harder for them to maintain efficiency. And the early signs of stress begin long before a person ever feels thirsty or realizes their daily intake is insufficient. What complicates this further is that dehydration isn't always about drinking too little water. It's about the body not being able to hold water effectively due to a lack of essential minerals that keep fluid inside the cells where it belongs. Minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium act as the electrical foundation for fluid movement. When these minerals fall out of balance because of poor diet, excessive caffeine, processed food, or high stress levels, the body can't maintain stable hydration, even if someone believes they are drinking enough water. With low intracellular hydration, the kidneys receive a signal that the body is in conservation mode, pushing them to filter less and concentrate more. This concentrated environment can make the kidneys more vulnerable to inflammation, crystal formation, and toxin accumulation. At the same time, mineral imbalance affects how blood flows through the renal arteries, changing the pressure and speed at which filtration occurs. When sodium levels drop too low or potassium levels spike too high, the kidneys must work overtime to correct the imbalance, pulling minerals in and out of the blood while trying to keep fluid distribution steady. This increased workload adds to the cumulative stress already created by mild dehydration. What many people don't realize is that this early stage of kidney strain doesn't cause pain, doesn't cause noticeable discomfort, and doesn't appear with dramatic symptoms. Instead, it quietly shifts how the body handles waste, how energy levels feel, and how fluid retention shows up in the face, hands, or lower legs. The cycle continues when daily habits reinforce the imbalance. Many individuals consume beverages that act as mild dehydrators without recognizing their impact. Coffee, energy drinks, sweetened beverages, and even certain herbal teas can increase fluid loss or disrupt mineral ratios. The kidneys respond to this by pulling more water from the body's reserves, further concentrating the internal environment and increasing stress on the filtration system. Over months and years, this pattern becomes a foundation for chronic kidney strain. Even though the person may not feel sick, the kidneys are operating under conditions that prevent them from functioning at their best. Add in the typical modern diet, high in salt from processed foods, yet low in naturally occurring minerals, and the imbalance deepens. The body becomes caught between too much of one mineral and too little of others, forcing the kidneys to constantly adjust. When hidden dehydration pairs with mineral imbalance, the kidneys lose their ability to maintain smooth filtration rhythm. Blood becomes slightly thicker, making it harder to push through the narrow vessels of the renal cortex. The filtration membranes become more reactive to inflammation, and the ability to flush waste efficiently diminishes. The internal environment becomes more acidic, forcing the kidneys to buffer that acidity using minerals they may no longer have an adequate supply. This acidic shift alone can increase stress on the nephrons and make the kidneys more vulnerable to long-term wear. Everything starts from this small, often unrecognized combination of inadequate hydration and disrupted mineral balance that silently burdens the kidneys long before obvious problems appear. Natural diuretic compounds play an important role in helping the kidneys flush toxins efficiently. Yet, most people misunderstand what a diuretic actually does inside the body. When people hear the word diuretic, they often imagine rapid water loss or something that forces the body to eliminate fluid aggressively. But true natural diuretics work in a much more balanced and supportive way. Instead of simply pushing water out, they assist the kidneys by improving the flow of urine, reducing fluid stagnation, and helping the nephrons clear out metabolic waste that accumulates during periods of stress or imbalance. These natural compounds found in certain herbs, fruits, and mineral-rich beverages support the kidneys by reducing the burden placed on them and allowing filtration to happen more smoothly. When the kidneys struggle with concentrated fluids or mild inflammation, even a slight improvement in urine flow can make a meaningful difference in how efficiently toxins are removed from the bloodstream. One of the key ways natural diuretics help is by encouraging the movement of water through the renal system without stripping the body of vital electrolytes. This is where natural options differ dramatically from synthetic diuretic medications, which can create imbalances if not monitored carefully. Natural compounds often contain minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients that support kidney tissue while promoting gentle flushing. They help restore a more fluid internal environment, allowing the kidneys to release what they were previously holding on to due to stress signals. When toxins linger too long in the system, they create oxidative pressure that affects not only the kidneys, but also the liver, bloodstream, and even energy levels. By increasing urine output in a healthy and controlled manner, natural diuretics reduce this oxidative load and give the body room to reset its internal chemistry. Another important aspect is how natural diuretic compounds influence blood pressure within the renal arteries. Excess fluid in the bloodstream or tissues can elevate pressure, making it harder for the kidneys to maintain a stable filtration rate. When certain natural drinks help draw excess fluid out of the tissues and into the urinary tract, they indirectly reduce this pressure. This makes filtration more efficient and reduces mechanical stress on the tiny blood vessels that feed the kidneys. These vessels are extremely delicate and respond immediately to changes in fluid balance. Supporting them through gentle diuresis helps maintain smoother circulation, less congestion, and better nutrient delivery to the renal cortex. This is crucial because the kidneys depend heavily on a steady blood supply to perform their work, and even small disruptions in flow can contribute to long-term strain if not addressed. Natural diuretic compounds also influence the lymphatic system, which often gets overlooked when discussing kidney function. The lymphatic network acts as a parallel fluid highway, removing waste from tissues and transporting it toward the bloodstream for eventual filtration. When the lymphatic system becomes sluggish due to inactivity, poor hydration, or chronic inflammation, it places more waste-handling responsibility on the kidneys. Certain natural diuretics help stimulate lymphatic flow, reducing the overall weight of toxins entering the kidneys at any given moment. This creates a more balanced waste processing cycle between the lymphatic and renal systems, reducing congestion and improving the clarity and cleanliness of the internal environment. Additionally, many natural diuretic ingredients contain compounds that soothe inflammation within the urinary tract. Chronic low-grade inflammation in the kidneys or bladder can slow down the movement of urine and make filtration less efficient. Some plants and fruits contain bioactive molecules that calm this irritation, making it easier for urine to flow steadily and consistently. When inflammation decreases, the kidneys can function with less resistance and less internal pressure. This reduces the risk of crystal formation, mineral buildup, and microbial imbalance, all of which can interfere with healthy filtration. The combined effect of improved flow, reduced oxidative stress, decreased inflammation, and gentle fluid movement creates an environment where the kidneys can perform their role with less strain and greater clarity, supporting overall detoxification and internal balance. Inflammation is one of the most underestimated forces affecting kidney health, and its reduction has a profound impact on how quickly filtration can improve inside the body. Most people think of inflammation only in terms of joint pain or visible swelling, But internal inflammation behaves very differently within the kidneys. Even a slight rise in inflammatory markers can change how blood flows through the nephrons, how efficiently toxins are processed, and how well the filtration membranes maintain their integrity. The kidneys contain a dense network of microscopic filters, each one responsible for separating waste from valuable nutrients. When inflammation sets in, these delicate structures become irritated, less flexible, and more prone to microdamage. This irritation slows filtration, raises internal pressure, and forces the kidneys to work harder with every passing hour. The body senses this slowdown and may respond by retaining more fluid, which only adds to the burden the kidneys are already facing. Reducing inflammation allows the kidneys to operate in a smoother, more rhythmic state. When inflammatory markers drop, the filtration membranes regain their ability to regulate what passes through and what stays in the bloodstream. Blood vessels surrounding the nephrons relax, allowing more efficient blood flow and reducing the strain caused by restricted circulation. This improved circulation enhances oxygen delivery to kidney tissues, giving damaged or overworked cells a chance to recover. Oxygen is essential for the energy-demanding filtration process, and even mild inflammation can restrict oxygen availability by tightening blood vessels and altering fluid movement. Once the inflammatory environment begins to calm down, the kidneys regain their natural ability to maintain electrolyte balance, regulate blood pressure, and process metabolic waste more effectively. Another major benefit of inflammation reduction is its effect on oxidative stress, which often goes hand in hand with inflammatory activity. Oxidative stress generates reactive molecules that can damage kidney tissue over time, making filtration less efficient and more vulnerable to disruption. When inflammation is high, oxidative stress tends to rise, creating a loop that weakens kidney function gradually. Anti-inflammatory compounds, whether from diet, hydration habits, or targeted natural ingredients, help break this cycle by neutralizing reactive molecules and protecting cells from further damage. As kidney tissue experiences less oxidative pressure, the filtration units can function with greater precision and steadiness. The kidneys become more responsive to hydration, more capable of flushing toxins, and more resilient against daily metabolic stressors. Inflammation also affects how well the kidneys communicate with the hormonal systems that regulate fluid balance. Hormones such as aldosterone and vasopressin play a key role in determining how much water the kidneys conserve or release. When inflammation interferes with this communication, hormonal signals can become distorted, leading to water retention, swelling, or frequent urination that doesn't effectively remove toxins. Calming inflammation helps restore clearer communication between the kidneys and these regulatory hormones, allowing the body to maintain more stable hydration patterns. This stability is essential for proper filtration because erratic hydration forces the kidneys into cycles of overwork and undersupport, both of which contribute to long-term strain. Another way inflammation reduction accelerates kidney improvement is by reducing the buildup of protein waste that tends to accumulate during inflammatory periods. When inflammation affects muscle tissue or metabolic processes, the body produces more waste proteins which the kidneys must filter out. Inflammation inside the kidneys themselves further slows filtration, creating a backlog of these waste products in the bloodstream. Lowering inflammation decreases both production and retention of protein waste, giving the kidneys a lighter workload and a clearer environment in which to operate. This improved metabolic clarity allows the kidneys to regain their natural pace and rhythm. When the body receives ingredient or practices that directly reduce inflammation, hydration-rich compounds, antioxidant-filled drinks, or minerals that support cellular calm, the kidneys react quickly because they are particularly sensitive organs. Their filtration rate increases as pressure inside the nephrons drops, circulation becomes easier, and hormonal balance stabilizes. This responsiveness is one of the reasons why people often feel rapid improvements in energy, clarity, and fluid balance when inflammation is addressed directly. The kidneys operate more freely, encounter fewer barriers to filtration, and begin flushing toxins with greater consistency, reflecting how closely inflammation and kidney health are intertwined. Electrolytes are often spoken about in the context of sports drinks or dehydration, but their deeper role in kidney function reaches far beyond simple hydration. When electrolytes are restored properly, they create the ideal environment for cellular hydration, which directly determines how smoothly the kidneys can filter, cleanse, and maintain internal balance. Every cell in the body relies on precise electrical gradients to move water in and out, and these gradients depend entirely on minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride. When these minerals fall out of balance, the body struggles to keep water inside the cells, leading to a state known as intracellular dehydration. This form of dehydration is far more impactful on kidney function than simply drinking too little water, because the kidneys respond not to how much water a person drinks, but to how much water the cells can actually hold and use. When electrolyte levels are corrected, the cells regain their ability to draw in and retain water efficiently, reducing the strain on the kidneys. Proper cellular hydration lowers the concentration of solutes in the bloodstream, making it easier for the kidneys to filter blood without excessive effort. The kidneys are constantly evaluating the thickness or osmolality of the blood, and when the blood becomes too concentrated, the kidneys must conserve water and intensify their filtration work. Restored electrolyte balance reverses this stress by thinning the internal environment and supporting a smoother filtration rhythm. The kidneys no longer need to overcompensate for concentrated fluids, allowing them to operate in a more relaxed, energy-efficient state. This shift in workload alone provides significant relief to the nephrons, the microscopic filters that determine kidney efficiency. Another important aspect of electrolyte restoration is how it affects blood pressure regulation within the kidneys. Electrolytes govern how fluid moves between tissues, blood vessels, and cells. Imbalances, especially involving sodium and potassium, can cause the body to retain excess fluid or lose too much, both of which place stress on renal function. When electrolytes are properly balanced, fluid distribution stabilizes, reducing swelling, easing vascular tension, and improving the flow of blood into the kidneys. Healthy blood flow is essential because the kidneys filter roughly 150 liters of fluid per day, and even slight reductions in circulation can impair this process. Restoring electrolytes reestablishes smooth, even pressure within the renal arteries, protecting the fragile filtration membranes from damage caused by pressure spikes or constricted vessels. Electrolyte restoration also enhances the communication between the kidneys and the hormonal systems responsible for regulating hydration. Hormones like aldosterone and vasopressin respond directly to shifts in mineral concentration. When electrolytes are imbalanced, these hormones often overreact, sending signals that cause the kidneys to conserve water excessively or dump fluids unnecessarily. This creates unpredictable hydration patterns and inconsistent filtration, which can slowly wear down the renal system. When electrolytes return to equilibrium, hormonal communication becomes clearer, allowing the kidneys to maintain a stable hydration state and respond appropriately to the body's needs. This stability prevents a cycle of dehydration and overhydration that burdens the kidneys and disrupts metabolic balance. Another powerful benefit of proper electrolyte restoration is a reduction in acidity within the body. Electrolytes help buffer excess acids, and when they are depleted, the kidneys must take on the extra workload of neutralizing acid levels. This added responsibility increases stress on the nephrons and can contribute to long-term wear. Replenishing electrolytes gives the kidneys the support they need to maintain a neutral internal environment without being forced into overdrive. As acidity decreases, the kidneys experience less irritation, less membrane stress, and more efficient filtration. This improved internal chemistry also reduces the likelihood of mineral crystal buildup, a common issue when electrolytes are imbalanced and urine becomes overly concentrated. Finally, electrolyte restoration helps strengthen the electrical activity required for kidney cells to communicate and operate efficiently. Each kidney cell relies on electrical signaling to regulate filtration, reabsorption, and waste removal. Without the correct mineral balance, these signals become weak or erratic, forcing the kidneys to work harder to maintain equilibrium. Restoring electrolyte stabilizes these electrical signals, improving coordination across kidney structures and enhancing overall function. With better communication, steadier hydration, smoother blood flow, and reduced acidity, the kidneys regain their natural rhythm and filtration capacity, allowing the body to return to a state of balance and internal clarity. Rapid changes in kidney function may seem surprising to many people, but they become far easier to understand once you look at how the kidneys respond the moment metabolic load drops. The kidneys are among the most reactive organs in the body because their job requires constant adjustment based on what enters the bloodstream. Every food choice, every drink, every shift in hydration or mineral intake directly alters the workload placed on these filtration units. When the metabolic load becomes heavier through high-sodium foods, excessive protein, sugar spikes, chronic dehydration, or inflammatory triggers, the kidneys must work harder to filter waste, regulate electrolytes, and maintain fluid balance. This heightened workload builds up quietly over weeks and months until the kidneys operate at a reduced pace, almost like a machine running under strain. But when the opposite happens and the metabolic load suddenly decreases, the kidneys respond with equal speed, revealing how adaptable and responsive they truly are. The moment metabolic stress is lowered, the kidneys receive a signal that conditions inside the body have shifted toward balance rather than disruption. When fewer waste products enter the bloodstream, the pressure on filtration membranes decreases, allowing the nephrons to work more efficiently. This alone can create noticeable improvements in kidney performance in a short window because the kidneys thrive in environments where they are not constantly overloaded. When the body consumes cleaner, simpler inputs, hydration-rich drinks, balanced minerals, and anti-inflammatory compounds, the kidneys can clear toxins more easily without dealing with thickened blood or excess protein waste. This lighter internal environment frees up filtration capacity, similar to removing obstacles from a busy highway, allowing everything to move more smoothly. Another reason rapid improvements occur is the immediate impact on blood flow. Heavy metabolic load often constricts blood vessels, increases pressure, or creates sluggish circulation. The kidneys depend entirely on strong, steady blood flow since they filter nearly a quarter of the blood pumped by the heart. When metabolic load drops, blood becomes easier for the kidneys to handle, viscosity decreases, and circulation to the renal arteries improves. This change enhances oxygen delivery to kidney cells, providing them with the energy needed to repair minor damage and restore normal filtration rhythm. Many people underestimate how quickly circulation can improve when inflammatory foods or dehydrating substances are removed. Yet the kidneys feel this shift almost instantly because they're so tightly connected to blood pressure, fluid balance, and vascular tone. Metabolic load also includes the chemical waste produced inside the body when cells burn energy inefficiently. Poor dietary choices or chronic stress can accelerate the production of waste molecules that must be filtered by the kidneys. By reducing these internal stressors, the overall amount of metabolic waste drops, easing the kidneys' burden. When the kidneys are no longer forced to handle excessive urea, creatinine, acid buildup, or sodium overload, they can shift their focus from crisis management to maintenance. This shift allows the filtration units to recover sensitivity, improve the clarity of their filtration processes, and function with greater precision. It also reduces hormonal stress signals that previously pushed the kidneys into water-conserving or pressure-raising modes, creating a more stable internal environment. Another factor that enables rapid improvement is the reduction in oxidative stress. Heavy metabolic load often increases the production of reactive molecules that damage kidney cells and slow filtration. When the load decreases, oxidative stress tends to fall quickly, especially when paired with hydration and antioxidant-rich ingredients. This calmer internal landscape helps soothe the tissues around the nephrons, making them more efficient and less reactive. The kidneys regain their natural ability to regulate pH, balance minerals, and maintain electrolyte levels without constant interference from inflammatory or oxidative byproducts. This restoration of balance is one of the primary reasons people experience improvements in fluid retention, energy levels, and urinary patterns shortly after reducing metabolic stress. Hydration also plays a critical role in why rapid change is possible. When metabolic load drops, the body shifts into a state where water can be used more effectively rather than being trapped in tissues or forced out too quickly. The kidneys respond by stabilizing urine concentration and increasing the clarity of filtration. This hydration shift reduces strain, improves nutrient flow, and enhances the kidney's ability to eliminate waste with less effort. Combined with improved blood flow, better oxygenation, reduced oxidative stress, and lower toxin concentration, a decrease in metabolic load creates a chain reaction recovery inside the kidneys. These rapid shifts demonstrate how dynamic and responsive the kidneys are when given the right conditions and the relief they need from heavy metabolic demands. Nitric oxide plays a powerful but often overlooked role in kidney health, and supporting its pathways can dramatically enhance blood flow to the kidneys. Many people associate nitric oxide only with cardiovascular health, but its influence extends deep into the renal system because the kidneys depend on continuous unobstructed circulation to perform their filtration duties. Nitric oxide functions as a natural vasodilator, meaning it relaxes and widens blood vessels, allowing blood to move more freely. When nitric oxide levels drop due to poor diet, stress, inactivity, or oxidative damage, the vessels supplying the kidneys can become constricted. This narrowing increases internal pressure, reduces oxygen delivery, and slows the filtration process. Even a modest reduction in blood flow affects how efficiently the kidneys can remove waste and regulate fluid balance, which is why restoring nitric oxide activity can create noticeable improvements in a short period. Supporting nitric oxide pathways begins with improving endothelial function, which refers to the health of the inner lining of blood vessels. The kidneys contain a dense network of tiny vessels and capillaries, all of which rely on the endothelium to remain flexible and responsive. When inflammation, high blood sugar, or poor nutrition damage the endothelium, the body's ability to produce nitric oxide decreases. As a result, blood vessels stiffen, become less adaptable, and struggle to adjust to changes in blood pressure or blood volume. This stiffness forces the kidneys to work harder to maintain filtration rhythm because they are receiving blood through a restricted pathway. When nitric oxide production improves, endothelial cells regain their flexibility, vessels expand more easily, and blood flows smoothly into the kidneys without creating excessive strain on the filtration units. Another important effect of nitric oxide is its ability to reduce oxidative stress inside the kidneys. Low nitric oxide levels are often associated with increased production of reactive molecules that damage kidney cells. These molecules interfere with filtration, irritate delicate tissues, and increase the workload of the nephrons. Over time, this oxidative pressure contributes to decreased kidney resilience and slower waste removal. When nitric oxide pathways are supported through nutrient-rich hydration, improved oxygen flow, and natural nitric oxide-boosting compounds, oxidative stress decreases, giving the kidneys a chance to operate in a calmer internal environment. This reduction in cellular stress allows the filtration membranes to function more effectively and the blood vessels to regain their natural responsiveness. Nitric oxide also affects how the kidneys manage blood pressure. The kidneys play a central role in regulating blood pressure by adjusting how much fluid they can serve or release. When blood vessels are constricted due to low nitric oxide, the body interprets this as a signal to raise blood pressure even further, creating a cycle of constant vascular tension. This tension affects the renal arteries directly, making it more difficult for adequate blood to reach the filtration units. By increasing nitric oxide levels, the body can naturally lower vascular tension, creating more stable pressure throughout the renal system. This stabilization gives the kidneys a more predictable flow of blood, which improves the consistency and efficiency of filtration. Another significant way nitric oxide supports kidney function is by increasing oxygen delivery. The kidneys require a large amount of oxygen to perform their tasks, more than many other organs of similar size. When blood vessels are narrow or stiff, oxygen delivery decreases, and kidney cells struggle to carry out essential processes. Increased nitric oxide reduction opens up these vessels, allowing oxygen-rich blood to reach the renal cortex without obstruction. Better oxygenation supports faster cellular repair, improved waste processing, and stronger overall filtration. Nitric oxide also impacts the communication between the kidneys and the rest of the circulatory system. When nitric oxide levels are adequate, the kidneys receive clearer signals regarding fluid balance, vascular tone, and metabolic needs. This clear communication helps the kidneys adjust fluid output smoothly, respond to changes in hydration, and maintain stable electrolyte levels. Without sufficient nitric oxide, these signals become muddled, leading to inconsistent filtration patterns and increased kidney stress. Supporting nitric oxide pathways restores balance to this communication network, helping the kidneys respond with precision rather than strain. When nitric oxide pathways are properly supported through hydration, nutrient-rich ingredients, improved circulation, and reduced oxidative stress, the blood vessels feeding the kidneys become more relaxed and open. This increased blood flow enhances the kidney's ability to filter, cleanse, and regulate internal balance with far less resistance, allowing the entire renal system to operate with greater clarity and efficiency.